planning. I did initially think, well, that's a bit pointless, because you'll always get it in, but think about how good a training tool it is. Think about how fast you could improve if you use
he lands
this.
another leg kick
Can't
there.
give
He's
it more
already
than a
landed
4 out of 10
several in this
just
round,
because
and
the company hasn't posted an
damage is
update
really
about it in like
starting to
2
take
years,
toll.
and so we've got no idea where the project is right now. Okay, I feel like there's a lot of people who love the idea of flying, but are just slightly put off by the fact that actually training to become a pilot costs over $100,000. Well, worry no more, because there is a company called Lyft who's building an entire fleet of personal drones that they're saying people will be allowed to fly without any experience or any supervision. Each one uses no less than 18 separate batteries, 18 propellers. They have so many safety features that they can apparently land even if 6 of them stop working. And they're even built to be resistant to bird strikes. You call that a bird? This company's future as hundreds of thousands of air taxis, getting people from AP or completely avoiding.
Ooh, that was a very close
I
call.
love the vision, but I'm only giving it a 4 out of 10 because they've got a hell of a lot of convincing to do before this massive victory. Number 20. This is where we stop things off March. I am of course talking about trash cans. This right here is the Titan Trash Compactor.
Make them back up. Boom. Like, I keep doing this. Getting trying to blow that lip anymore as well. You need to be able to keep jump. If your leg is screwed up, it's going to be harder to jump.
So, let's see how well it works. That is kind of insane. As a very rough estimate, I would say that that has doubled the amount of stuff that I can fit into one bin bag, which is obviously not just good for me, but also the planet. As far as bin tech goes, this is not rubbish. A joke. 5 out of 10. And in a similar vein, Solubag has made a whole catalogue of bags that you can use as many or as few times as you want to, and then when you're done, just stick them in hot water and they will dissolve. In just 5 minutes, there will be no trace of a bag, and the resulting liquid is so safe that you can drink it. Which is kind of amazing when you think about how a normal plastic could well take 500 years to break down, and even then, you do not want to be drinking that. Or, in a similar vein, the company DB Breweries has created a fleet of machines that can take your used beer bottles and then, instead of just filling them to be emptied in landfill,
This if he takes a step forward, boom, straight there, then start firing at the head. See this? I keep my strategy up and just making sure I can catch him off guard with that kick. Then it's going to screw him up. Screw him up. See? He steps forward and I feel that kick, leg kick. And then when he goes for a hit, I kick him in the body, go towards his head, and then start firing off knees. So pretty much I am just manhooding for Sandhagen, making him stop doing what he usually does in his fights. Now, he just needs a tactic to expect or figure out what I'm about to do before I do it. And the second he figures that out, he's beat me. That's the reason I am switching it up. Now, see? He's just head scratching. Ooh, god, oh god. Look at, had to make sure he got back, went back with a whip. Because that was a very close call, like he just threw that knee, and it was decapitated me. Like a, but, oh. Boom. But every time I knock him out, I don't know when I'm just gonna catch him off guard, tap it, he's just gonna crumble, like I just caused him to do. Go for the knockout! Damn it, no, get up.
Oh, nice connection by him there.
I've played Warframe, it's a boring game. We don't have friends play it with you. I didn't have a lot of people play it with me.
It's great for brands, because they're going to stand out, and as a viewer, I'm not exactly complaining either. And hey, if you're enjoying this video, then a sub to the channel would be showstopping. 5 out of 10. And
nope, step forward for an over.
The Euro 2020s. If you did, you might have noticed that these adverts going along the sides of the page
First true test.
seem like anything particularly novel on the face of it. These are actually augmented reality ads. They're LED boards that using something called virtual digital replacement technology, which requires a complete upgrade for all parts of the recording equipment, can be treated as replaceable objects. So if I'm watching here in the UK, I'll see one ad on them. If you're watching out there in India, you're going to see something completely different. Even though this is a live event. It doesn't matter what angle they're being filmed from. It doesn't even matter if someone walks directly in front of them. It's really convincing.
So there
As
he is
for
after
why,
the big TKO
well,
victory here tonight. He had some
money.
doubters
This
coming
tech
in.
means that
He
instead of
certainly
just being
muted
able to
those
sell one
naysayers
set of
here
ads to
tonight.
one company, they can now offer that same advertising space to as many companies at once in every region, with the reassurance that these ads will be targeted to the viewers in that company's local market. A 6 out of 10 thing from right there. Okay, there are a lot of jobs around the world that require people to stand. It could be factories or shops or pharmacies. Sometimes there just isn't enough room for chairs. And I really respect people who do these jobs, because standing for sometimes 8 continuous hours is not easy and can cause a lot of long-term health issues.
Yep, makes sense.
However, the Chairless Chair 2.0 could solve a lot of it. It's a passive exoskeleton which enables you to sit. It doesn't matter where you are, it's got pads in just the right places such that it feels like a chair, and most importantly it is built to counteract the long-term difficulties from standing by strengthening your thigh and back muscles or relieving pressure on the spine and knees. I probably only spend like 40 minutes standing a day, so maybe not for me. But even then, I still somehow managed to become the clumsiest person I know. You know, one time, my friends will never let me forget this, I managed to fall over while sitting down. How does that even happen? Regardless, the B shoes are kind of perfect for me. Each shoe has a motor-controlled track on the underside, as well as a whole load of motion sensors. And what these do is, they detect if the wearer is about to fall over, and then use those motors to spread that person's feet such that they very quickly have such a wide base that they don't fall. The B shoes were primarily designed for the elderly, who tend to fall often and whose falls are more likely to result in complications. It's a really worthwhile cause, but sadly it just looks like the concept didn't hit its funding target and is now up in the air. Unlike its users. 6 out of 10. Okay, in today's world, we get through a lot of paper, whether it's bank statements or receipts or your local pizza place shoving 14 litres for your door each morning. The point is, Epson has come up with an incredible invention that allows you to recycle it. You feed all of your waste paper into this absolute unit of a machine, and 3 processes occur. It breaks the paper down into individual fibers, stripping away all the ink in the process. It deposits what's left into a uniform layer, injecting a molecule that strengthens and whitens it. And then finally, it uses pressure to compress that layer into a paper of whatever thickness and size you want. Recycling paper this way uses 95% less water than traditional methods. It avoids all the trucks needed to transport paper from location to location, and it means that any sensitive documents you might have never need to leave your premises, even when you are done with them. Very easy 6 out of 10. You might have realized at this point that I'm a bit of a sucker for inventions that save the planet. And with this, simple is often better. Like there is a company called Smartflower who've managed to build solar panels in such a way that they're not just pretty so that companies will buy them as a showpiece, but they will also rotate to make sure that the panels are always directly facing the sun, such that you always get the optimum level of energy conversion. Makes it so much simpler.
Some sweet science.
Right. Between you and me, I love the idea of practice, but
Loving that.
that's way too much of a weight.
You're coming along really well.
Honda may be about to change that with their stealth balancing technology. They've created a little device that can sit above the front wheel, constantly assess its position to know how much the bike is tilting, and physically move the steering bar if it goes too far one way. Oh yeah, by the way, the bike can follow you to a parking spot and park itself. I'm not tempted.
Great. Hey,
That's like
great.
we're in a time
Great boxing
because we
day.
got White Hot and
Okay?
Enterprise
Good
video.
job.
Yeah. So today.
Spice up every... This is fine. And it's not just drivers. You also got to keep pedestrians safe. When it turns out, Quebec has started printing crossings that, as soon as it's time to cross, turn into fences. Admittedly, not the most intricate technological marvel, but given that it will probably save people's lives, I can't give it less than a 6 out of 10. So now I was wondering that if you started working on that a little bit too early, wouldn't it just catapult you onto the oncoming traffic? We'll take questions at the end. Let's talk about traffic actually, because lots of cars on the road is often seen as a nuisance, right? However, a young entrepreneur from Pakistan has figured out how to benefit from it. This guy spent a fair amount of time at racetracks when he was younger, and when cars would fly past, he started paying attention to the wind that you feel from it. How it was more than just a welcome relief from the humidity, but also a resource that shouldn't be wasted. So, he developed a turbine that every single time a car passes will harness that wind to rotate and charge a battery that can then be used to power homes. And since then, big companies like Shell have come in and funded that idea into widespread adoption. 6 out of 10. But we can take this to another level. We're almost reaching intergalactic status here. Did you know that you can actually reserve a seat now for a space capsule? It'll have 360-degree panoramic anti-glare windows, unlimited drinks, and a Wi-Fi connection apparently fast enough to be able to live stream the experience. It's effectively a pod attached to a massive balloon, and it's built to be launched from the ground, drift up out of the atmosphere, and then it features a splashdown cone at the bottom such that it can land safely in the sea. I probably won't be one of the first people to try it, but I do think it's kind of crazy that this is starting in just 4 years, and we are now talking about casual trips to space for leisure. 7 out of 10, with the slight caveat that it is $125,000 for a 6-hour flight. So, you know, try not to fall asleep. And equally alien is Xiaomi's new Cyberdog. It's a robot that can follow you around like a real dog, move at speeds of up to 3.2 meters per second, and it's completely modular. So it's built with external attachments in mind, depending on how you want to specialize.
Korean zombie.
It's not the first of its kind. It's almost definitely a copy of the Spot robot by Boston Dynamics, but it might well be the smartest. It's got a powerful chipset on board. It can respond to voice commands, and it can use face recognition to keep track of who's who. Am I the only one still waiting for a cyber cat? Number 6.
Kind of.
I couldn't make a space-themed video and not talk about Galaxy. Turns out, Samsung might well be working on a rollable smartphone, currently being labelled as the Galaxy Z Slide. It's a very unusual bit of kit, but according to some filed patents, it will have a half display on the back alongside the cameras, and then this display will stretch all the way around the front of the phone, and then it will actually keep going, with all the extra bits rolling up inside of the main body. And then, with the tap of one button, it can unroll to reveal a tablet. It's a fascinating concept, not just because transforming phones are cooler than the current book-style foldable phones, but also just having a rollable screen means that you'll no longer have to worry about that crease going down the middle when extended. 7 out of 10. Right, so up until a few weeks ago, my dream car was probably a Tesla, or maybe a Lotus feature, nothing ridiculous, until Audi unveiled what can only be described as a car from the year 2050. It looks fairly normal on the face of it. I mean, not exactly normal, somewhat conventional, until you press this one button, and all of a sudden it activates full self-driving mode, the steering wheel disappears into the frame, and the car physically elongates itself to allow you more space to just chill and wait for it to take you somewhere. This is a concept car, so you can't just pop to Audi and order one, but I really like where their heads are at. 8 out of 10. And also, yet another vehicle that I'll probably never drive, La Moto Volante. Apologies to any French people I offended with that pronunciation, but this literally translates to the flying motorbike. On the land, it's nothing extraordinary. It's an electric bike that can go up to 100 watts on charge.
Okay.
But thanks to 4 high-powered turbines embedded in each wheel and tanks of kerosene,
Let's
this
go.
thing can
30 on the clock.
only for 10 minutes at a time. Look at it. I know it would never be allowed, but can you imagine getting stuck in traffic one time and just being like, nope, not today, and just overtaking everyone from above? Smartphones are getting pretty cool, and if there's one thing we know about them, it's that they're going to continue to evolve in ways that are increasingly beautiful. And in that direction, it turns out that as well as rolling phones, Samsung's also filed patents for a camera system on rails. So by default, you basically have 3 cameras that sit in a straight line. Pretty standard fare. But then, at the press of a button, the main camera in the middle can be pulled down, which in turn will bring the 2 secondary cameras on the sides inwards to form a triangle. Okay, but where this actually starts becoming useful is that because you've moved each camera sensor to a new position, you can have a completely different set of lenses that will sit on top of them in those positions. Meaning that even though you only actually have 3 cameras, you have the capability of 6 different cameras. And they never get implemented, because there are obvious complications to it, but it's just so cool to think that while we're speaking right now, this, and so many other technologies like it, are being trialed. Now, if you've been lucky enough to try virtual reality, you'll probably know just how immersive it can be, how you can very easily just forget that there is a real world around you. But of course, there are companies hard at work to take this immersion to the next level. Like Axis, who created these tiny little nodes which you can place on each of your limbs to enable full body control. Like you can punch, you can kick, you can throw, you can do anything you want to, exactly how you would want to in a virtual world.
Okay, come on now. Let's get in there and get after it today.
360-degree treadmill that allows you to run in any direction inside your game while actually staying in one spot in your bedroom. Or even, probably the most extra solution, how Japanese manufacturers achieve a very similar thing using moving robotic tiles that follow your every step. As impractical as it is,
The next opponent is going to be no match for you.
And finally, just before number 1, do remember that I have 2 other episodes in this series.
That's what I'm talking about. That punch damaged him,
To really
right?
understand the final one,
Power.
and how it could literally change the entire fabric of our society, we need to understand that computers, at least the way we know them, are reaching their theoretical limits. To
Combination.
simplify a little
Love
bit,
it.
the chips that our
Keep it up.
computers run
Pressure
on
on
are made up of billions of transistors, or switches, and these are what create the bits, the 0 or 1 binary operations that are the
Come on
base
now,
of what
you got
runs
30.
on of starting and stopping the flow of electrons. However, as we keep trying to cram more transistors into successive
Oh,
generations
nice
of chips,
punch.
the transistors
Nice
themselves
punch.
are getting so small
Felt
that
that one.
if they went much further, they wouldn't actually be able to block the electrons. So, the next
Excellent
era of
job today.
computing
Better
is
than
seen
last.
by a lot of people to be quantum computers, which, instead of working with normal bits, where each is a 0 or a 1, they work in terms of qubits, where each qubit can be any proportion of both 0 and 1, and will therefore carry more information. Like, if you have 2 normal bits in a normal computer, you've got 4 possible outcomes, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. But with a qubit, there are infinite. Also, because with quantum computers, the qubits are seen as an interlinked system, as opposed to lots of individual switches working on their own, these computers can approach problems in smarter ways, instead of the very methodical and inefficient one-by-one number crunching that current computers work with. I'm not going to go into all the physics because it's stupidly complicated, but the belief is that this type of fluid computing will be able to solve problems that might have taken a typical machine till the end of time in a matter of minutes. The entire way that a computer works is being rethought here. This is seen as the equivalent of moving from candles to light bulbs, and it completely changed everything from financial modeling to security. Because, like, instead of someone just needing to find out a binary key to hack into your stuff with a normal computer, they have to break quantum physics itself to do the same here. Fairly deserving of a 10 out of 10. Alright, here's a modern day problem. You're upgrading phones. You package up and sell your old one, you get yourself a new one, you rip open the packaging, only to find you don't have a charger anymore. Well, the Anker Nano Pro is trying to be the one-size-fits-all solution for that. And there's quite a lot of things I like about it. Like, one, it's tiny. Something like 45% smaller than most equivalently powerful chargers. 2, it has anti-heat, or in other words, continuous temperature monitoring and automatic adjustments to the power output when it starts getting hot. And 3, there's a bunch of two-tone color options. Glacier blue, cool lavender, arctic white, and black ice. They're pretty much made to match the colors of the iPhone 13 lineup. It is a 20-watt output, which is not their highest, but at the same time, considering that a brick half the size of my thumb can 50% charge an iPhone 13 in like 25 minutes, it is pretty cool. So, check the link in the description right now. Check out my last video all about the Vivo X70 Pro Plus, that's here. But for my full review of the iPhone 13 Pro, that's it here. My name is Aaron, this is the Boss.
Oh, good job. Yeah, devastating punch. Awesome job. Man, your next opponent is gonna be no match for you. Nice work.
This is my most expensive unboxing ever, because in front of us right now are 12 super limited edition smartphones, starting at
Let's go.
$700
30 on the
and all
clock.
the way up to almost 170,000. So surreal to say, but even at the lowest $700, you don't get something pretty special. So you might have heard of the Oppo Reno 4 Pro. It's a pretty standard upper mid-range phone, but for the limited edition, Oppo partnered with Pantone, who are like the color
Sharp,
company,
kid.
to create this
That's what I
new
like.
glittering version. And providing you like the color, you really have to like this color. I think the packaging is beautiful. It's lightly textured on the outside, but also this whole glowing green theme they've got going on, it's everywhere. It's in every insert. It's on this rather unusual case you can decide. It's on the USB-C cable, the earphones. They catch light in a really mystical way. The charger. On the front it has the Pantone branding, and on the back, green glitter. Success! As for the phone itself, I think there's a lot going on. It's kind of amazing, this silky matte finish, paired with all these little green flourishes, the buttons, the text.
Okay, got it. So hit him with a crane kick.
The antenna bands and the inside of the USB-C port. Just
I've been on 2233, how you ain't heard of me either, you sleeping, you dead. All of your armor is nursery, not for emergency, why would I aim for the head? He got a bag and he brag now, I gotta check if they less.
Makes sense why people would think I was gonna win. I'm gonna win. Like, they watched me dismantle Coy Sandhagen in that first fight, like almost get knocked out with that knee in the first round, and then in that fight, almost get knocked out by that knee and just go, so you almost knocked me out, I'm just gonna dismantle you now. Just kick his leg until he could not stand anymore, and fell to the ground out of pure pain, and the ref had to call the fight, because he could not stand anymore.
All right, ready to go for round one. He has won his last 3 fights. We'll see if he can extend the... Oh! And he comes through with a big knee.
That knee hurt him.
Oh! He's out!
3 strikes. 3 bloody strikes were thrown that entire fight, and then he's out.
Excellent striking technique to land that shot and
Wait, no,
ultimately finish the
4
fight
strikes,
here
there was
in the
4,
first.
because
You've heard us
that
say it
first
before,
kick,
but sometimes
and
when
then
you
2
catch a
knees,
guy
and then that
cold before he's had a
second
chance
kick.
to get going
Just
in
pop.
the fight, it can have a bigger effect.
That man must not have been expecting me to just come out the gate, throw a crane kick, and almost knock him out for the first hit.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Dan Bergliata calls a stop to this contest at 19 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by knockout, Kid Dynamite!
Well, there will be no shutting that smile off tonight. The celebration is on as he gets a huge win.
Yeah, knockout of the night, baby. Fans love me. They love my knockouts even more. Oh, right. Okay, so I threw 8 strikes and I only landed 5, so I missed 3 strikes. But look at that. Performance of the night bonus. Makes sense. The fight started and I almost decapitated him with the first hit. He survived. I beat him up a little. Started softening him up and then hit him with it again. Like, that man could not handle anything.
fit the theme. The only thing is, that's a lot of text. I think in the pursuit of trying to make something that feels limited and special, Oppo's kind of left elegance and subtlety at the doorstep. But this was Oppo in 2020, and I would argue that it's taken them till this year to finally nail this concept of experimental color. So, this is the rather elegantly named Oppo Reno 5 Pro Plus 5G Artist Limited Edition. I feel like at that stage, why not just call it Reno 5 Max and be done with it? But this phone changes color. The packaging is immediately striking. I feel like with limited editions, the default option is to go down the route of luxury, but this one's just more quirky. It doesn't come with any gold-plated accessories or super high-end materials. The visual design here is so unique. That's what makes Oppo's limited
Main
editions so
card
fun.
fight.
Like, it really looks like
Weston Matthews. This man has 0 losses, so that means they're like, oh my god. Wait, how many wins does this man have? If he's a 12-0 fighter, this is gonna be an amazing fight. Preston Matthews. 12-0. Sean O'Malley's just not fought. He's just like, I don't want to fight anymore. I retire. I want to see if this guy can give me a good fight. If you're 12-0, just like the guy on his way up that's just beaten everyone in his path, and his closest fight was against Corey Sandhagen, who he still beat like it was nothing. And after he got figured out Sandhagen was not able to block those leg kicks very well, and then that fight against Anjing, that guy was being talked about as a fighter no one can stop. This man might be able to knock out anyone in his path. He's only has a few losses, and then goes into this fight for me, and then gets hit a few times, gets only hit 5 times, then realizes why my character is going to become the future champion in that first round. Like, this is what happened. Look. Boom. That's what knocked him out. Just like decapitation.
Handed their phone to an artist and said, "You want to paint something on it? Knock yourself out." And here's the magic. Thanks to electrochromic glass, which uses energy to change the physical arrangement of the molecules, with just 2 taps on the back, we can shift color. That's so cool. Like, could you imagine a few years down the line being able to just swipe on your phone and cycle through till you get the exact finish you want? It does make you wonder what a $160,000
How many wins and losses did the last guy fight have? So, Jing. I think it's Anjing. Anjing had 26 wins and 6 losses. So this man would have been 6, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 32-0 if he didn't lose at all. Well, 31-0. I'm 31-1 because I'm that 6th loss, baby.
And I look like that. Now, for $50 more than that, is a phone that means business. You might have heard of Red Magic. They make high-end gaming phones that don't cost a heck. I've got their latest Red Magic 6 here, which is their 21 offering with all the bells and whistles like the world's smoothest 165Hz display and 7 separate recording mechanisms all meshed together. But, for the purposes of this video, the one that we're actually interested in is a special edition version of their last phone, the Red Magic 5G. And what makes this noteworthy is that this is a transparent phone. We've seen transparent phones before. They often use these kind of fake components just beneath the glass because, well, the real components don't look that great. But the one difference here is that this phone is a fully working fan. So, this is a fog machine. It's fully loaded up with fog juice. So, if we turn that on, you'll be able to see how the air is coming in, being used to cool the internals, and then getting pushed out on the other side. You could say it's red magic. The effort is definitely here. The software is heavily customized, the keyboard feels like it's from an alien planet, they've even created a wallpaper that allows you to see the fan in action on the front too. A bit tacky in my opinion, but I appreciate the effort. Okay, picture this. It's 2016. Samsung's announced the Galaxy S7 Edge. It's high-end, it's got these new exciting curved edges.
I remember
it's
that.
regarded by most as the
I think I had that
best
phone.
smartphone the world has ever seen. And then they one-up themselves again by launching the Injustice edition of that phone. I wanted this thing so badly, so the fact that I finally managed to get one is kind of surreal. Sadly it isn't sealed, but it was as close as I could get. The first thing you see is an enormous bat signal logo. Proper metal job this. There's a thick Batman case. We've got the phone, which I'll get to in a sec.
I've had that phone.
At the time, this thing was Samsung's vision of the future, but it just never quite took off. VR is expensive, it's kind of an isolating experience, and I guess just the idea of sticking one of these on in public, like Samsung was promoting, just felt a bit awkward to people. On one hand, I'm looking at this and thinking, what a phone, this is so cool, I'm just marveling at all the little Easter eggs hidden in the software, but the other part of me is thinking, feels so old. And even though
It
I
is.
distinctly remember the feeling of looking at this like it was the pinnacle of cutting edge.
I have the original version of that phone. I had that thing. I had the original version. No, I'm not even joking when I say this. It hit the ground once. It didn't hit the ground once, but no, it hit the ground once and shattered into pieces. The screen's made out of glass.
Look at it now through my 2021 lens, just like it belongs in a museum somewhere.
Yeah, it does.
That's just the beauty of how fast
It's old.
things are moving.
It's old.
But on the subject of Samsung,
It hits the ground running.
Pretty clever recently.
Today, let's go in there and get after
Yep.
Anywhere, right? At Walmart, at Flipkart, at Tesco. That's intentional. It means that Samsung has the best possible reach. However, in Samsung's ideal world, all the customers who could would actually buy direct from them, because that way they can charge the same price, but not have to pay all these retailers.
I have a Discord notification. In a server. It's in this server. In pictures. Hook this in. Yeah, it's cool. That's cool. The people that live next door are
Your
playing
next
the people.
opponent is gonna be no match for you.
I have a picture. I don't go over there. There. Because they have a little chihuahua that will try to bite my toes off.
Kicks are adding up.
Mandy don't. They have toes. To hit someone in the jaw with. I expect to see that out quick. Often when I say stuff like after I type something.
Good. Yes.
Yes.
Good work with your kicks. That's what I'm talking about. He's starting to fall apart. Stay busy. Stay busy. 30 seconds. Let's go.
Like often when I say something after I message someone something, that's what my brain thinks. Yeah, they're gonna most likely say this.
Fall apart. All right.
There's a high chance they'll say that. So that's often what
Nice
I mean when I say that.
Just
So
keep drilling that. Never kick without
Yeah.
setting it up with a jab or straight.
never kick without setting it up. Oh God! Oh, what did you just hit me with? Spinny kick. You didn't even set that up. I know. You're terrified. I know. I don't know. I know. And then you hit the ground running.
All right. Let's see what you got today. Speed and power. That's it.
So much things are there
Nice. Now we're putting these strikes together.
but you never know if you don't go. Yeah, you never know if you don't show. Yeah, hey now, you're an all-star. Hey now, you're an all-star. And someone get paid. All that glitters is
That's it.
gold.
Just like that.
Only shooting stars break the mold. Somebody once told me the world is gonna want me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kinda dumb
Nice
with
work.
her finger.
Come on now.
He
You got
was
30.
looking kinda dumb with her finger and his thumb. The shape of an L on his forehead. Now, that's not coming and they don't stop coming.
Good work with your kicks. That's what I'm talking about. He's starting to fall apart. Stay busy. Stay busy. Great job in there. You land volume like that, you're gonna chop it.
Yeah, if you don't go. Yeah, hey now, you're an all-star. It's on, get paid. Hey now, you're an all-star. It's on, get paid. All that salary is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. Your head gets dumb. That's it. But you never know if you don't go. Yeah, you never know if you don't go. Yeah, you never know. Get paid, hey now. You're a rock star. Get paid. All that shimmers is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. Yeah, you never know if you go. Yeah.
Time to burn and get after it. Here we go.
What?
That's what I want to see. Hey, awesome job. Now let's move on. All right. I want to see you kill it today. Let's go in there and crush this. Perfect defense. Hey.
You can't do perfect defense when he makes it seem like it's about being a body shot that hits me in the clean game.
I want to see you kill it today. Let's go in there and crush this.
I blocked my body though.
Oh, good block.
I'm blocking my body though.
Today, let's go in there.
If I fail this one more time, I'm just murdering this man.
Great block. Man, your next opponent is gonna be no match for you.
No, I don't need cake. I actually need this.
Oh, big kick. What a bruise. Come on, baby, let's go. That's perfect. Seconds. Beautiful combination. Keep it up. Put the pressure on it. Hey, great job in there. Beautiful kicks with high volume. Nobody can stand up.
Slow touch, brown on white. I can go punch, grab and fight. I can go bust, eye for eye. I can lose trust. White run, easy pop. Where you they go, we they go up. Catch my vibe, let me go off. Blam the trash, man it's so tough. Alright, yo, put a player on the body, make a clutch. She know what she wanna give. Boy got peas, now she hopping the club. Man, in real life, she got my
Okay, just 2.5 stars. That's fine. That's fine. He's has an undefeated record like I do. He might be a good fighter. Ooh, he's pretty good with leg kicks. You know what? Prediction: knockout, first round. I'll always say knockout in the first round. I don't care how good of a fighter you are. I'm always gonna think I can knock you out. What? Weston. Great. Great. I'm fighting this guy. Why fight with an undefeated fighter so I can go ahead and like this guy can be undefeated fighters like it's nothing. Give me a good fighter. Give me the champ. But no, I'm being forced to fight this guy. I wasn't even preparing for him. But Gray, I want to fight him now. The guy I didn't want to even fight because I wanted that guy, but nope. I get this guy. The other guy was the two undefeated. That would have been an amazing fight. Just undefeated man versus undefeated man. Who loses the O today? But no, I'm forced to fight this guy.
Cut. So, Samsung have started encouraging that in a not so subtle way by giving free bonuses like earphones and Google Play credit, and now also exclusive limited edition color variants. They take at least 2 weeks to deliver because they are made to order. And for the S21 Plus this year, they've designed a color variant that when I saw for the first time I was like, you've got to get this on the channel. Because I love it. I've showed it to other people, they hate it. For whatever reason, the box is identical to the other normal variants. This isn't like some super high effort luxury edition. Look at this.
You keep putting on the look. Okay, he's giving me all the pressure he has. Obviously. No pressure he got. Look, Betsy. I'm just taking my time. Boom. Cut him apart. Maybe stumble a small bit. Boom. Kick out his leg. This is it, he's showing. Yeah. Yeah, see what you've done? You wanted this fight with me. So I'm just gonna keep kicking your leg.
Even Verizon in the dust. Head out on the highway. Most 5G coverage in America.
Where am I supposed to put this?
More 5G bars in all places.
I'm gonna break your leg. Suck it, nerd.
On his opponent's midsection now. Maybe he can isolate a leg.
Yeah, it looks like he's
They call it
transitioning
Phantom
into a
Red,
knee ball.
and it's pretty much everything I want in a phone finish. It's jazzy and fun, without looking excessive. The matte texture is grippy, and also keeps itself clean. There's no flexing at all in the body, and they still manage to get that complex light refraction that gives it an extra aesthetic layer. Also, this feels like a weird thing to say, but Phantom Red,
Look at this. Oh, that's beautiful.
they call it Phantom Red, and pretty much everything
That's
I want in a phone
$1,000 for
finish.
that.
It's jazzy and fun, without
I don't like how
looking
much it is, but
excessive.
that's a
The
cool.
matte texture is
That's
grippy,
cool.
and also keeps itself clean. There's no flexing at all in the body, and they still manage to get that complex light refraction that gives it an extra aesthetic layer. Also, this feels like a weird thing to say, but this is one of my favorite phones ever from a bezel perspective, because it's still one of the only devices on the market where the screen feels like it's evenly stretched around the canvas of the phone. So there's no weird jutting corners or thick chins, it's just pleasant design. Okay, moving up the price meter, I think they've done something even more interesting with the exclusive version of their S21 Ultra. You've probably seen a fair bit of this black one, maybe also the silver too, because these were the ones sent to reviewers, but as a consumer, if you go through Samsung's own store, you can find something called Phantom Brown, which, I mean, I don't think the words phantom and brown belong in the same sentence, but the end result is a phone unlike anything I've ever seen before. You see, on one hand, it's just brown. It's not one of those super vibrant colors that you usually associate with wowing people, but when was the last time you saw a brown phone? And I actually think this soft phantom glow, paired with the carbon fiber themed camera setup and the black rail that goes all the way around the sides, it sneaks up on you a bit. It feels surprisingly distinct. I feel less like I'm holding an official Samsung product and more like one of those fan-made concepts, but in a good way. Now, you might have heard of Harrods. They call themselves the world's leading luxury department store, and they built a bit of a reputation for selling things like a $160,000 golf putter,
Yes,
$1,000 bottle of perfume, and a $1 million advent calendar. So, compared to that, this feels like a bit of a bargain. Inside this box is the $2,000 Harrods limited edition iPhone 5S, and given that there were literally 3 of these on the entire internet, and that the 5S is my favorite iPhone ever. It's a seriously heavy-duty wooden package. Maybe it's a good job in this. Although this feels more like a gimmick for security. So there you have it. So on the left is what looks like a gold USB stick. Not the most inspired design, let's say.
Your next opponent is going to be no match for you.
To be clear, I'm not a particularly showy person. So this whole idea of like sticking 1,000 Swarovski crystals on something and then plating the rest in 24 karat gold kind of horrifies me. But the level of precision here blowing my mind. This whole idea that like every single pistol you see here has had to have been individually planned and implemented. Whether that's this kit, they managed to put onto the power button, the forward and onto the alert slider, or the 65 carefully placed inside the Apple logo. And every single one has its own separate enclosure to support distinct effects. Also, just like the size of this thing. It's like a relic of the time when phones were actually usable in one hand. Right, where's the top part?
Don't stop now.
What do you mean?
You got 30
Stay on?
seconds.
Okay, imagine this.
I also got giant hands.
2012, Samsung has just announced the Pebble-inspired Galaxy S3, Apple is readying their thinnest iPhone yet, and BlackBerry is getting slaughtered by the competition. So, what they did is revamped their operating system, and as well as releasing their standard mainstream $700 Bold 9900, they also created a limited edition Porsche design version and called it the 9981. For some reason. It's definitely packaged like you've just dropped some serious dough on it. You've got the phone, which we'll get to, a custom charging stand. They've even got a Porsche design battery, manuals, a cleaning cloth. Below that are the more standard BlackBerry accessories, as well as, though, what looks like Porsche design earphones too. They didn't have to do that. That's a slick move. I will say this. There was a time in my life when I thought BlackBerry was the coolest thing in the world. But pretty much as soon as that first iPhone got announced, when I saw the value of touch-based apps and games, I realized that BlackBerry just kind of disappeared. But if I was going to use one, this would have been it. The stainless steel body, the sharp lines, the leather back, the laser X logo,
Your next opponent is going to be no match for
This is
you.
one of the few phones that you could throw at the wall and worry about the wall. It's just a thing that the high-end hardware was let down by brilliant.
Your next opponent is going to be no match
After
for
that,
you.
I was kind of looking at this one for 2004, 2015, thinking, really? This is the Alpha 1, and the only justification for its price is that Lamborghini branded. So this is not like an Oppo or a Huawei phone, it's just licensed the Lamborghini
You look like a
name.
champion
It's
in there.
also as the Lamborghini phone. But with that in mind, the one thing that it then needs to do for $2.5 grand
Let's go. 30 on the clock.
the packaging really does that. The cable is generic, the charger just has a logo stuck onto it, and while you do get a nice SIM ejector tool, you're really not wowed. But then I realised why. Because on the face of it, yes, this is a really nice, premium, well-built,
Good work on the
luxury
back
car
today.
branded phone. It's got a liquid alloy frame, which is highly resistant to stains and dents and scratches, as well as lovely circular power button, and some extremely plush stitched leather on the back, which just kind of makes sense here. It's a high-end material, and it also ties back into Lamborghini cars. But, depending on how much time you spend watching tech videos, you might recognise this camera setup. Ah, yes, let me introduce you to the ZTE Axon 7, a phone which is spec for spec identical to this, and it's very clear that all Lamborghini have done is taken that and repurposed it. And that's it too, but
Nice.
ZTE's was the same, just a different colour. That feels pretty disingenuous to me. I actually think it's cool when companies make luxury high-end variants of their existing phones, but this one has purposefully distanced itself from the devices based off to basically trick people. Like I can imagine the majority of people who bought this probably thought they were paying for Lamborghini engineering, when they were actually paying for ZTE engineering with a bit of Lamborghini leather slapped on top. Right, now we're to the top three. And the value is about $3,500.
Today, let's go in there and get
just
after
hop online and order. So, you might know that Xiaomi's recently dropped their full flagship Mi 11 series of phones.
Here we go, baby, that's a combo. Come on.
And so far so good, they've even created like a Xiaomi branded suitcase for it.
Man, your next opponent is
Oh,
going
no,
to
so
be
come-
no
boop.
match for you.
Okay, there's three phones here. The first one is the Mi 11 Lite.
Oh no, but like I don't throw head kicks. That's the fun thing. Is I don't throw head kicks. I make sure the only head shots I throw are the knees when I'm in a clinch and my punches, because those are meant to be the headshots. My body shots are meant to be my legs, and sometimes my
It's
look at this.
party time, people, and Raid Shadow Legends is
stop
having
now.
their
You got
third
30
birthday.
seconds.
And I gotta say, I wish I got these gifts for my first starter play. So, if you haven't played the game yet, now would be the best time to join. Every new player will receive a free starter pack to help speed up your progress and catch up with the Raid community. First, you'll get the totally badass epic champion Talia. Not only is she great for getting into the early campaign with her crazy AoE attack.
I might need to re-download that game. I downloaded it before, and I stopped playing immediately. I did not like it.
I've got to say, while Xiaomi is up against strong competition in the phone market, these bans are one area that they've just killed it. Mostly because I think their competition wouldn't even want to enter this kind of price point. And then, this one's very curious. This is an 80-watt wireless charger.
What?
It's incredibly powerful, but what makes it strange is that Xiaomi doesn't make a phone that can charge with 80 watts wirelessly. Hence, this 80-watt wireless charger comes with a 120-watt wired charger. But Xiaomi literally has one phone that can actually charge with 120 watts. So I think this whole package is less about immediate benefit, more like a future-proofing solution. The phones, well, they all do share elements, like you can tell they're from the same lineup, but each one has its own character. The Mi 11 Lite is slim, and like its name suggests, light, but it also has a really fun finish that is kind of messing with me. The way it reflects light almost makes it look three-dimensional. And then as you get further up the lineup, the phones get more beautiful, but then also
That's it, my only head picks are those. Like, those are the only ones I flew on enough playing. And then you watched me knock that guy out with Cold Drift one. See that?
It's so safe when it comes to color. Okay, 2 phones to go, and now is where we really start cranking up that price dial. You've probably heard of Caviar. They've sent us a few interesting phones before, but this is what they're selling for 6,900.
69.
So they're calling this Apache, not that kind of Apache. It's like a limited edition iPhone to apparently honor the indigenous people of America.
30
but
seconds.
This is the first time I'm seeing it. I'm kind of nervous, slightly shaking, but it's exciting. Let's do it. Okay, I mean, just the iPhone so far. Let's see what it looks like. Alright, here we go. So the bottom of this is it's like a leather type material. The top is ionized black pearl, which as far as I can see is a sort of highly durable acrylic. And then all of these gold parts are brass underneath with a 24 karat gold plating on top. I feel like if there's one word for this, it's meaty. Like, it's very clear, this is a showpiece. This is for someone who cares much more about the materials and the quantity of those materials on their phone than, say, how comfortable it is to hold.
We're gonna
Would
time
I
the
personally
shoot
use it?
and get the takedown.
Probably not.
Shoot.
Does it
Get
feel
that takedown.
expensive and premium?
Following directions perfectly.
Yeah.
Great
I think my
job.
favorite design so far is still that
Let's keep
Titanic
that up.
phone that I looked at about a year ago now. I really like this black and red theme. I think that's so cool. International warranty. And this is number 1 of 99. A normal Apple charger. AirPods. Not AirPods. An Apple cable. But now it's time. Time to show you what a $170,000 phone looks like. That's enough money to buy 80 27-inch iMacs, 12 brand new Chevrolet Sparks, or, you know, a beachfront mansion in Nicaragua. It's so valuable that you can't even buy it in one go due to online banking restrictions on their end. It's so valuable that by the time you're seeing this video, it's already been exported back to Russia where it came from. I do just want to quickly say though that for the first time ever, 50% of you watching my videos are subscribed. So thank you to everyone who has taken the time to do that, and for anyone who hasn't, sub to the channel would be priceless. Okay, 6-digit lock on this. I really hope there's not a code. That would be a spanner in the works. Are we ready? Whew. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh.
That's an actual gold phone.
Business card? Jeffrey Preston Bezos. this like white and gold combination here, this looks amazing. Let's have a look what comes in the box first. We've got gold themed packaging on the accessories. Maybe we'll even get air
fundamentals today.
So the
Keep it
cable
simple on the
is
mats.
black
I
cable,
want to see
and
good
then we've got a
technique
gold
while you work
caviar
for that
themed sim
takedown.
ejector tool. Oh. Right, okay. Samsung Galaxy Buds, and they are literally just the standard black ones. We have a black Samsung themed charger, the gold collection, which I'm assuming is filled with a whole number of other stupidly expensive things. And finally,
Put the pressure on it.
certificate of ownership.
Beautiful speed. Beautiful.
This feels like Thor's hammer trying to pick it up. Don't judge me, it's
good job.
You move one more time and I'm trying to strike you.
Keep pushing. Keep pushing.
It makes me want to laugh and cry at the same time. So this is the gold code. It is a Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra paired with 1 kilogram of pure gold. I don't have any way of verifying this material for myself, but more importantly, who is this for? Because you probably noticed
Me.
that whilst we pass phones for the sake of luxury and beautification, we've lost
I want it. It's now mine. I own it now.
Sorry that I have to say this, but not to mention that it literally weighs a kilogram, plus the weight of Pro's own internals. And here it is. Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra Gold Brick. In case you're wondering, this is what the camera looks like. Literal, just black, straight up. Really, the selfie camera doesn't work either, but I guess if you can afford this, you can probably afford someone to take photos of you. I was curious, so I just looked up the price of a 1 kilogram block of gold. It's coming out at the equivalent of 85,000 US dollars, which is still crazy expensive, but it's not 170,000. I guess the main value add here is that Caviar apparently offers a swapping service. So 2 times for each customer, you can apparently tell them, I want to swap the phone's hardware to, it could be an S24, it could be like an S27 at that point. Value for money. Anyways, if you did enjoy this video, then we've got my last ridiculously expensive unboxing up here, and the thinnest smartphone in the world up here. Thanks for watching.
I'm finished.
With Metro by T-Mobile, make your movie night epic with 5G. Get more choices with the largest selection of free 5G phones, like the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. Switch now and save more. Only at Metro.
You learn it's your own homies you knew since the beginning that see you winning and they want to see you finish. Goddamn.
My name is Austin James. As a musician living with diabetes, fingersticks can be a real challenge. That's why I use the Freestyle Libre 2 system. With a painless 1-second scan, I know my glucose numbers without fingersticks.
No, putting it in is not painless. That is a lie. You wanna know how I know that's not painless? Because my grandpa had to have that put in his arm. Well, he had to have it put in his arm by my brother, and it hurt like hell, he said. Okay. So, he wants to hit me with a sidekick. Kick. Win. Makes sense. So he won like a flashy win for his first win against a fighter in the top 15.
As I've been making other videos over the last few months, I've also been gathering 7 of the rarest, strangest smartphones I've ever seen. So number 7 is the Galaxy S4 Zoom. I got a bit lucky with this one. I logged on to eBay, and it was sitting in freezer mode. But this is a special phone. This is what it might seem like this is a standard 2013 device in front. Turn it over, and you realise we've got a bit of an imposter on our hands. But don't let the crazy part. All of this stuff is just there so that this phone can have 10 times optical zoom. The modern day Galaxy S21 Ultra also has 10 times optical zoom. It's just, this one doesn't look like it's been let loose in an ordinary project. Samsung wasn't wrong about zoom being a key selling point in the future. It's just that, since this phone came out, companies figured out a more efficient way of doing it. The traditional approach and how it was done on the S4 Zoom, as well as just generally point-and-shoot cameras, is always exact bits of black.
Fortnite.
Great job.
One is to capture a wide view, and one
That's
is to
it.
capture
Now,
a view.
right there.
This works so well that in 2021, people have started using this technology. They can test the technology on the side. I mean, obviously we are comparing 2013 to 2021 here, but that we're now at a stage where in most aspects, better engineering and innovative software magic outperform matching the options.
Oh, nice punch.
Is the nerve.
Nice punch. You felt that
This
one.
is the nerve. And it kind of looks like pinnacle futility, but it works. And that's fuel for
Killed him.
this video.
All right, 30 seconds left.
So this is the packaging, and probably its best feature. Learning to do more things with the bag